And so let's take a look at correlation versus causation. So correlation is a relationship between two events. Causation is something that caused it. Correlation does not imply causation. So temperature outside and ice cream sales. Alright, so hot weather doesn't cause ice cream sales to increase, but it's related to ice cream sales. Meaning, because it's hot, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to cause you to go want that ice cream. However, there's some kind of relationship because maybe some days it will. Alright, number of firemen fighting a fire and the size of a fire. The bigger the fire, the more firemen, right? However, this doesn't mean bringing more firemen will cause the fire to increase. Some will make it bigger. So that's correlation. There's a relationship, but it doesn't cause it. Let's take a look at some that cause it. One thing causes the next. Hit your finger with a hammer and that finger swells. Duh, you swelled, it was caused by the hammer hitting it. Exercising and burning calories. Burning calories is a result of exercise. So remember, causation, it causes it to happen. Correlation is just a relationship. Alright, so let's take a look at graphically what that looks like. So I'm going to look at correlation. You have weak correlation, which means that dots are further apart, and then you have strong correlation. That means they're closer together. So let's say, and actually draw a linear line before you do this. I recognize that on the second one. The listening check, underline further apart. Alright, so if I take a line, you see that dots are going in the direction of that line, but they're far apart, which makes it a weak correlation. But if you draw a line, and the dots are very close to that line, it makes it a strong correlation. And we'll look into that in a further video. You just need to know that going up is positive. As x increases, y increases. So if you want to do a negative one, obviously it's the line going down. As x increases, y decreases. And then weak would be the dots are far apart, but they're still going down in that general line. And strong would be they're still going down, but very close to the line. So weak, the dots are far apart, but they still have some kind of, you can see that they're going down or up. And strong is they're very close to that line. Right. No correlation means no relationship at all between x and y. Basically, the dots are all over the place. You can't even tell what's going on. So we'll take a look at some examples and see how we can fit them in. So how tall a person is and how fast they drive. That's got no relationship at all. So you'd want to glue that on the no correlation. Try and do this. Actually, pause the video and try and do this on your own. Hours in the mall and the amount of money spent. Well, the more hours I am in the mall, the more money I spend. So that's as x increases, y increases. That means it's a positive correlation. Distance traveled and the amount of gas in the car. The further I drive, the less gas I have. So that's a negative correlation. As x increases, my gas decreases. This is a listening check. Underline as x increases, y decreases. So you're going to put that on the negative correlation. Test scores and shoe size. That's got nothing to do with each other, so that's no correlation. Okay, so again, try and do some of these without hours of studying and grades. The more hours I study, the better my grades. That's a positive correlation. As x increases, y increases. Temperature and the amount of people wearing jackets. Alright, as the temperature increases, the amount of people wearing jackets will decrease. So that's a negative correlation. The listening check, put a box around positive correlation. Weight on a skateboard and the speed of the skateboard travels. Okay, so the more weight there is on a skateboard, the slower it is. So that's going to be a negative. This is a listening check. Color in the word weak. Income and education. The more income you have, the more education you have. So that's going to be a positive correlation. Number of days absent from school and grades. Okay, the more days you're absent, the lower your grades. So that's a negative correlation. That's pretty much it. Let's practice.